A few days ago I found a super deal on something I thought would make a really nice project. The trouble is I already have too many really nice projects, but still I wanted to make a play on this thing, so I was trying to figure out in my mind, how do I justify it? And then it came to me, it's an investment. If I buy this thing, it's not just me wasting a bunch of time and money. It's a business decision to purchase an asset, repair it, and sell at a profit, taking steps toward a brighter and more secure financial future. How's that for a distortion of reality? Look what I got. 2002 Yamaha WR250F dirt bike. Sale price, $450. This was a theft recovery, so you know they treated it right. But it has a few issues. The Kickstarter shaft is broken, the radiators are bent, the registration is expired, and cosmetically it looks terrible. But my goal for this bike is not to make it pristine. Rather, I just want to focus on a few critical areas so it'll be fast, reliable, and somebody wouldn't be embarrassed to ride it. First things first, let's give it a bath. Woo-wee, she's all washed up. Looks exactly the same. What this thing needs most urgently is a Kickstarter, so I'll remove this broken shaft and replace it with a good one. So I'll move a few things out of the way, disconnect the coolant and oil lines, take off the clutch cover and the clutch. Now we have access to the Kickstarter shaft. So here's a close-up view of the broken part. It's a shame I couldn't figure out a way to salvage this thing, but I feel pretty lucky because when I bought the main attraction over here, I also got a parts bike with the deal. And the parts bike had a Kickstarter shaft, intact. So let's see how it fits in here. Looks pretty good. Now I better try to put all this stuff back together while I still remember how it goes. There we go, the motor's put back together with a spiffy new Kickstarter shaft, but I still need a Kickstarter. There's a motorcycle dismantler pretty close to my house. I called them up and they said they didn't have the proper Kickstarter for a WR250F, but they did have a bin full of orphan kick pedals that I could help myself to. So I drove down with the Kickstarter shaft and matched it up to one of the Kickstarters in the box. They only charged me $20 for it, which I was happy about because the proper Kickstarter for this bike goes for about $100 on eBay. I was smiling all the way home. However, by the time I got back and tried to do a test fit, that smile had disappeared. Even though the Kickstarter fit the shaft, because of the curve of the pedal, it wouldn't clear the frame. So that was last week's $20 lesson in Kickstarter compatibility. I went ahead and just ordered what I think is the correct part from eBay along with a bunch of other stuff, and now I'm just waiting for the mailman. Look at this, special delivery. I have received items, one of which is a Kickstarter. Come on, let's see if it fits. Yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah, top notch. When I got this bike, the worst thing about it to me was the broken Kickstarter, and that's why I repaired that first. But another example of flagrant neglect is the smushed radiators, especially this right-hand side. So I'll take off the seat, the shrouds, and the gas tank. Now I can get a better look at what's going on here. This side took a major hit and it's looking pretty droopy. Over here is no bargain either. So I'll remove both of these and replace them with a couple of fairly straight used radiators that I picked up. Much better. Now I need to install these louvers. These were really deformed from being smashed in the radiator, so I used a heat gun to soften up the plastic and bend them back into a more usable shape. So let's see how they fit. Come on now. There it is. Count it. Time to put back the gas tank. It was a tough call to make, but I've decided to remove these handsome stickers. The heat gun is great for softening these up, but working so close to gasoline, I just can't shake that old familiar feeling that I'm about to blow myself up. I think that looks presentable. Since I'm in the mood for stickers, I'll go ahead and remove the Now T, the Jegs, the B&M, the Rockstar, the Sleepy Kitty, and this. I like it better without all that hodgepodge. The motorcycle's ready for the radiator shrouds, but before I put them on, I'll use a heat gun to minimize the appearance of these stress marks. Well, they're not perfect, but neither am I. So there it is with the shrouds put back on. I also tried to spruce up the front fender and headlight enclosure, but I don't think it did much good. This right side panel looks really rough, so I picked up a set of replacements that don't look the greatest, but at least they don't have holes in them. This seat looks pretty ratty, so I should probably do something about it. Besides that, bunch of turkeys around here. I bought this used seat cover that's in quite a bit better condition than the original. Hopefully I can get it on there and make it look okay. So I'll remove some staples and get the old cover off. That's probably the easy part. Now I'll just squeeze this new cover on here like the old high school pants, then stretch it tight and staple it down here on the underside of the pan. I think that came out nice, even if it is just an old retread. Before I put the seat back, I want to clean the air filter. It seems like whenever I buy a motorcycle, if the seller voluntarily mentions that they change the oil and clean the air filter after every ride, the air filter always looks like this. Always be closing, that's what they tell you. Put out your cigarette when you're pouring that gas, son. There's that air filter, cleaned up, oiled. Still looks like shit. We'll just hide you under here. Next I can put on the seat. Whoa, I think we're getting somewhere now. I've only got a few things left to do. The chain is extremely stretched. It sounds like a tambourine too. But I have another chain on the parts bike out back that looks like it's in a little bit better condition than this one, so I'll put it on here instead. This factory chain is a master link-less design, so this is how we take it off. Oh, I should have checked to see if these are even the same length. I think this is within the realm of acceptability. The carburetor leaks whenever I turn on the gas. My initial suspicion was that there was some dirt stuck between the needle and seat. So I took it apart, cleaned the offending area, then I put it back together. However, the symptoms persist. But I think I know what's wrong now. I'll just pull this thing off real quick. Okay, now we can take off the float bowl and I'll show you something. Right here is the needle valve, and that's what I cleaned before, but there's another piece of this puzzle. It's the needle valve seat, and it's inserted into the carb body and sealed with an O-ring. If the O-ring is deteriorated, even if the needle valve seals properly, gas can still leak by through this crack, and I think that's what's happening to me. So I'll pull this out. Right there, I think that's the source of my trouble. I'll try to get this off now. Oh yeah, that is brittle, baby. Usually I have an O-ring for every occasion. I found one here that I think will work. It has to be just right, you know. Not too thin, not too fat. Try it out now. I think that's good. Worth a try anyway. The carburetor's back on, so is the gas valve, and no leaks yet. There's only two things left to do. I want to put on a set of new grips, and despite the ingenuity behind this tubing and tape clutch lever repair, I think I ought to replace it too. I got that fresh hardware installed. I also grabbed the front brake lever from the parts bike out back because the original one has that classic handlebar in the dirt curve. So I think we can stick a fork in there. It's done. My objectives for the project were to buy the motorcycle, fix it up, and sell it. The motivation was strictly financial, so we'll step into the business office and crunch a few numbers in a little while. But you know, there's nothing to say we can't go on a little test ride, right? sample the product. Still running, it's still running. And then it dies. First crash. That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. I only crashed once, and you know, it's important to remember that no matter how much I sell this motorcycle for in the end, it's not going to offset a hospital bill. How do you like these boots? My brother gave them to me. He's a size 12, and I'm not. I'll see you back at the garage. That was really great. I haven't ridden around a motocross track in probably 10 years. Lots of fun. So let's get down to brass tacks here. Since I purchased this motorcycle about a month ago, I've been keeping track of all the expenses I've incurred on this spreadsheet, just so I'd have an accurate picture of my total investment. On the left-hand side, you'll see the item in question, and over here the corresponding cost. The first thing I bought was the motorcycle itself. I paid $450 for it. This is where the money is made or lost. It's all about the purchase price. If you pay too much here, you're sunk. On the other side, if you get it cheap enough, you could probably just flip it the same day and make a few bucks, which I may have been able to do with this project. I was thinking back, and without all the trouble of refurbishing the motorcycle, I probably could have sold it for $600 on the same weekend that I bought it. But I also like to think that I've kind of converted it from a disgrace to something that somebody might be proud to own. So I've got that little bit of pride. Moving down the line, the diesel to go get the motorcycle was $30. This is something I really should have investigated further, the DMV cost. I live in a wonderful, socially engineered, communist utopia of a state where everything is expensive. I think I paid more in registration to bring this motorcycle current than people in other states pay for their car registration. But anyway, that's what it is. It was a few years behind, and to bring it up to date was $178. The diesel to go get the tags were $20. The first Kickstarter I bought down at the motorcycle wrecking yard was $20. And the diesel to go get it was another $30, so $50 wasted there. The radiators I bought from eBay, they were $69. Grips, $9.55. New clutch lever, $5.71. That nice seat cover that I'm really happy with was $27.85. The correct Kickstarter I got a deal on, $50 for that. Those side number plates were $20. I didn't go over it in the video because I didn't know I needed it at the time, but I replaced the rubber manifold that connects the carburetor to the head because the original one was cracked, and I was having some vacuum leaks that caused the low RPM operation to be kind of hit and miss. So I replaced that at $21.37. I kept track of the diesel and gas to go on my little maiden voyage there, and even though, now this is curious, if you look up here, I paid $178 for registration that's supposed to cover public riding areas. But when I go to a public riding area, they charge me another $5. I don't understand it. But anyway, all said and done, the total expense for this project was $969.46. Now, this is the million-dollar question. Sale price. And I want some feedback from you guys. What do you think it's worth? Because I am going to sell it. I don't know if I'm going to sell it before this video is posted, but I am going to sell it because I need to clear out the garage a little bit. I've done some research on Craigslist. I'm thinking $1,500. Real money. I'm not going to say that's what people are asking for these motorcycles. I think it could probably sell for that amount. Tell me if you think that's high or low, and tell me what you would actually pay for it, not what you would ask for one or what you've seen them advertise for, because that's just fluff. That's frosting on a cake that might not even exist. If I sold it for $1,500, net profit $530.54, which is not a bad payday for a hobby.
You were supposed to be buying pants!
So is it possible to make money buying and selling motorcycles? Sure, if you buy them cheap enough and you watch the expenses. Keep in mind, less than half of the total investment for this project was the cost of the motorcycle. That nickel and dime stuff will eat you alive. So, who wants to buy a 2002 WR250F? Only crashed once, as far as I know. Thanks for watching.